escenario del Palacio de Euskalduna y vamos a hacer una pequeña entrevista para presentar nuestro segundo programa de abono de la temporada. Tenemos con nosotros a la violinista Lorenza Borrani y a nuestra solista invitada, la violonchelista Julia Hagen. So, welcome to Bilbao. So how do you like Bilbao and working with the orchestra? How was the week?
Well, it's my first time here in Bilbao, so I was very excited to come here. And I can just say I really enjoyed here. The orchestra is so friendly and so attentive, and they're so quick in reacting. And I feel like they're just 100% there with me. So for me, it's just really beautiful to play here. And also you feel very welcomed, and it seems like a very nice family here. So very happy to be here for the first time.
Great to hear that also. And we do our best. And for me, it's the second time to be here. And I was extremely happy to come back because already the first time I felt really good here. And I have to say that this time I felt we started from a higher position. So something must have left in the memory of how we work together. And I feel that we are really developing in playing together. So this is a very nice surprise. I mean, not that it was unexpected, but I'm finding it really, really nice to have this response and to take risks. Now we are playing this Haydn symphony, taking a lot of risks, and we are happy to do so. And so I'm really looking forward to the concert.
Yeah, so much fun playing with you both.
Yeah, it's been an incredible week.
Great to hear.
So yeah, we wanted to talk about failure and success as well, because I think when we have artists like you, like at a very top level, we tend to forget that you also worked very hard and you probably practiced a lot, and you still do. So yeah, you must have had bad moments in your musical life, and I'm interested in how do you get through them. Yeah.
Well, what helped me is to realize we're all human beings and we're not machines, and it's okay to do mistakes. I think from that moment on, I allowed myself to be okay with that. It got easier because I remember during my studies, I had a period of time where I felt so tense that nothing is allowed to happen on stage. And I think then you lose all the spontaneity and the musicality. So I think it's important to let also the audience know I can have a bad day, it can happen, and then I'm sorry for the audience, but that's life, and I'll move on. So I think that helped me a lot to just say human beings make mistakes, and that's okay.
Yes, and also to know that sometimes our perception from inside is very different from the perception that comes from outside.
Yes.
So you learn a little bit, no? With experience. Sometimes you feel that you have been fantastic and actually there. Yes, or then you also listen back to what you did and you say, well, actually no. So one can never be completely objective in feeling successful or unsuccessful, but you have to learn this. Now I felt that in my life the stress increased with this streaming thing, live streaming, because for me it has been always very important to feel for whom I'm playing, no? To relate to the whole and to the number of people that are there. In this day, maybe there was bad weather, everyone came with the rain, but you do the music in this moment, it starts, finish, and then it's not there anymore. And the next day you change. No? Now in our days it feels that everything stays, no? That it's the opposite, a little bit of how most of the music that we play has been conceived. That it's conceived, that you create and then it's lost. And then you recreate it, you know? And for me this was, but I think it's also generational thing. People that are younger grew up already with this, and it's more natural. But for us, all this, how do you say it? All this, it was a big change. It was a big change, and so I had to a little bit learn about also to give up, also about that, but you learn more from your failures than from your success somehow, and the success should be the thing that gives you the trust that you can have the energy to go on. It's a hard job, but it's also the most beautiful in the world.
Yeah. That's very interesting.
Thank you. So it can be interesting also to know where do you find inspiration to keep going. to make music?
Shall I go?
Sure.
Me, it was always, I remember also studying music was for me a parallel path to go to the normal school. My parents are not musicians, so I think we have a very different history now, but parents are not musicians, and this thing of making music was very strange, the whole environment. And so I did the high school, the scientific high school, and I went to school even if it was extremely hard, because I had to do the two things very high level at the same time. But for me it was so interesting what sometimes piece of literature, a piece of art already at that time, and studying history, and it was already that at that time a font of inspiration. And so of course everything that this is value for everyone else, that you don't need to do the high school for that, but for me that stays. I read the book and something tells me, oh, I could do this project about this. So this is for me a big font of inspiration. And then musicians you work with. This is the biggest, and then you meet someone, I mean, from all your professors, they have been my biggest font of inspiration. Then meeting, working with Harnoncourt or Claudia Abbado, this for me was an incredible font of inspiration. Lorenzo Coppola with the clarinet, you know, or a soloist that comes and in a way teaches you how to play the violin without teaching you how to play the violin, because you observe. So I was telling Julia that I learned a lot after 30, when I got 30, and then I learned a lot in the past 10 years, even more than before. So this.
I don't think I can add anything.
Yeah, I guess for you, one of your inspirations must have been having the Hagen Quartet so close. I think you know the Hagen Quartet better than most of us.
Well, I guess so, because it's my family. So I hope I know them better than most of the people. Yeah, so I don't know, when people ask me how is it to have Clemens Hagen, who is a cellist, as my dad, I can only say I just have one dad. I just know him, he's my father, and I have no comparison. And I never see him as a cellist, I see him as my father. So I think for the outside it plays probably a much bigger role that he's Clemens Hagen and they have the Hagen Quartet, because he was never my teacher. I never had lessons with him, because I think he wanted as kids, I have 3 siblings, to see him just as a dad and not as a teacher. And that's why I think for the outside it plays a much bigger role. But of course I grew up with the string quartet literature, and the first concerts I went to were the Hagen Quartet concerts. So of course I think it influenced me, but still I think for me the beautiful thing is that the most important thing is that they're just my parents, and they're there for me no matter if I do music or not. So yeah.
So now we wanted to...
Small questions.
Yeah, to do small questions. We are done with the intense part.
Yeah, maybe some recommendations, like for example a book for you, that is really important for you both.
Well, I really loved reading The Great Believers by Rebecca Mackay. It was just a book that was really touching on so many levels, and yeah, if you want to have goosebumps and be touched by a book, then I recommend that.
Me, I had the phase that I was reading only books from dead people. If they were not dead, I was not, no, especially when I was teenager. Then I discovered also the contemporary, the modern and the contemporary literature, and I discovered, I don't know, Paul Auster or these authors that I recommend a lot. And now I went back again to the classics, and so now I'm reading again, actually, Il Maestro e Margherita, Bulgakov, and I'm finding it incredible and very, very inspirational. There is a lot of music inside also. Not that I always look for music inside, but I mean, there is a lot of politics, satire, and everything, but also there is a lot of music in that.
Okay, a movie?
I must say nowadays with Netflix I'm more into series, I guess. But the last, or I remember a movie I watched a couple of times was The Intouchables, I think it's called in English. Ziemlich beste Freunde in German.
Yes.
I really loved it. I think I watched it 3 times in a cinema and then again at home. So that was always, good to watch.
Yeah. And when one asks me this question, I feel that my brain gets.
Yeah, there's so much nowadays.
And then I don't feel. And then in 10 minutes, when this is finished, why didn't I say this movie that was incredible? So I go to the movie of my childhood. That was really my favorite when I was in my childhood. So that stays there. That it's The Sword in the Stone by Disney. It's a cartoon. And with that, I make violin lessons. About Mozart Fifth Violin Concerto, and so for me this is also very inspirational. I
have to watch it.
You have to. I have to watch it.
So maybe a non-classical artist right now that you listen to?
Oh God, also so many. You start.
No, I don't start. I'm very bad. I don't know. Normally, if I listen some of also Italian, come si dice, cantautorato, De André, Fabrizio De André, or I'm a little bit old-fashioned about that.
No, I mean, my Spotify playlist, again, like Netflix and Spotify, there's so much on it, so it's, yeah. So I think I listen to Kygo, Adele, then also like Falco, like those classics. So it's just a weird mix of everything.
Yes.
Yeah, so last question, I think. We wanted to talk a little bit about the repertoire of this week, how you came up with the idea of combining the music that we'll be playing. So, yeah.
I remember that the first time then I came here, we thought to do. We did Schubert last time,
yeah.
Right? Yeah? And then we thought next time to do a work on Haydn and classical repertoire. So this I had already in mind to do that. And then there was the idea to invite Julia to do the Haydn, the C major. And actually C major is kind of, it touches my favorite symphonies of Haydn. There is another one in C major that we should do. And 56. And so I thought, let's do the distratto, number 60, because there is so many change of character that we can really work on flexibility and things. And it's the same tonality, and so it could fit like that. And there is so much of folk music in the distratto and Turkish rhythm and this Orientalish taste there, that then I thought so perfect overture would be Entführung. To start a little bit wild, and and then this piece by Carolina Shaw. It's actually inspired by Haydn Minuet of a string quartet, opus 77, and with some tonality relations. So it's called Interact, a minuet and trio. It's called so. That I thought could be to insert also a contemporary piece that has a connection with Haydn.
Nice.
So well, I think we have to leave it here. Thank you again for being here. It has been like one of the best weeks, I think. I wish we could have more guests like you.
I have to recommend a movie.
Okay.
I have to recommend a movie. We finish with that. I have to recommend a movie because not many people knows it, and I saw it a few years ago, and I think it's genius because I think it's real. It's how the world is.
Okay.
And it's, in Italian it's called God Exists and Lives in Brussels. But actually I think it's the 10th commandamento. The real, but look, I think Dio esiste, vive a Bruxelles. It's extremely cynical, extremely visionary, and like that. But I think it explains a lot of what is going on.
Okay. We'll write it down. So the books and the movies.
Bueno, pues os esperamos hoy a las 7:30 y mañana a las 7:30 con Julia Hagen y Lorenza Borrani en el Palacio Euskalduna.
Aquí, donde estamos.